I was already halfway up the cliff when I saw it again. That red light. Blinking once, then twice. The exact same pattern I'd seen last night when the screaming started. The wind punched at my jacket, trying to shove me back toward the drop. Salt stung my eyes, and the roar of the tide below felt like it was crawling inside my skull. I shouldn't have been here. But when you hear a voice in the dark calling your name, you don't think straight. It started at 2:14 a.m. when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. No number. No message. Just a single audio file. I pressed play. The hiss of wind, the crash of waves, and then my own voice. It whispered 3 words. Come to me. I didn't remember recording it. I didn't remember saying it. But I recognized the sound of my breath between syllables. The trail to the headland was slick with rain, lit only by my headlamp and the distant blink of that red light. Somewhere below, the ocean smashed itself against the rocks, like it was trying to break something free. Halfway up, the beam of my lamp caught a piece of rope tied around a post. It wasn't new. It wasn't old. It was damp, and it led off the trail toward the cliff edge. I followed it. The rope ended at a wooden door, built into the cliff face like it was hiding in plain sight. There was no lock. Only a handle slick with salt and something darker. The door groaned open into a tunnel cut through stone. The walls dripped. Every step I took echoed like I was walking inside a throat. Then I saw her. She was standing in a widening of the tunnel, a narrow beam of red light from somewhere behind her making her hair glow like wet copper. Her face was turned away. But I knew she'd been waiting. You came, she said. Her voice was calm, too calm for the storm outside. I opened my mouth to ask how she knew my name. But she raised one finger to her lips. Listen. Somewhere deep in the cliff, a low, slow pounding began. 5 beats. A pause. 5 beats again. I felt it in my chest more than I heard it. Like it was syncing with my heartbeat. She stepped closer. The air around her was warm and damp, smelling faintly of iron. Her eyes never left mine, even when the pounding grew louder. You have to see, she said, and she led me deeper. The tunnel opened into a cavern. In the center was a pool of black water, perfectly still despite the storm raging outside. The red light pulsed somewhere beneath its surface. She stopped at the edge and reached out her hand. When I took it, her skin was cold enough to burn. The pounding became deafening. 5 beats. Pause. 5 beats. Then movement in the pool. Something rising. Long fingers breaking the surface first, followed by a face too pale for anything alive. Its eyes opened, solid black, and locked on mine. You're marked now, she whispered. The next thing I remember, I was outside, standing alone on the cliff in the rain. The red light gone. But the pounding was still inside my head. The radio came alive at 3:09 a.m., one sharp burst of static. Then a voice, thin and warped, like it was speaking through a mouthful of water. "Can you hear me?" I froze. No one was supposed to be on this frequency. The Coast Guard had shut it down years ago after the lighthouse collapsed. The voice came again, "Come to the water," and then a long, slow breath, as if whoever it was had their lips right against my ear. I sat in the tiny cabin, rain hammering the roof, staring at the radio like it might speak without the mic pressed. Then the static shifted. A sound came through, steady and rhythmic. 5 beats. Pause. 5 beats again. It felt familiar. Too familiar. I grabbed my jacket and flashlight and stepped out into the storm. The wind shoved me sideways as I made my way toward the cliff path, boots sliding in mud slick as oil. Halfway down the path, I saw a glow on the rocks below. Not white like a searchlight. Red, winking, blinking. 2 short flashes, then 1 long. I knew the pattern. It meant safe in old signal code. But I've never seen red mean safe. At the base of the path was the old jetty, half swallowed by waves. The glow came from a lantern tied to a post at the very end. And under the post, a figure. Hunched, motionless, long hair blowing like seaweed in the wind. I called out. No answer. Just the lantern swinging on its rope, painting her face red every time it turned. It was pale. Too pale. Her lips were moving, but no sound came out. I took a step closer and the waves surged, slamming water over the boards. When I looked again, she was gone. The lantern was still there, though. And it was pointing, literally pointing, its handle tied to a thin rope that led into the water. I don't know why I followed it. Maybe because the pounding was still in my head, matching my steps. The rope led to a half-submerged tunnel under the cliff. Every swell pushed icy water to my knees. The ceiling dripped rust and something darker. Then the smell hit. Salt, iron, and rot. At the end of the tunnel was a steel door. It shouldn't have been there. It shouldn't have been warm. I pressed my hand to it. Something pressed back. A hiss of air escaped as the door cracked open. Inside, dim yellow bulbs swayed from the ceiling, casting shadows that looked like they were breathing. In the center of the room, a large glass tank pulsed with red light. Something moved inside. Long fingers. Black eyes. Skin pale as bone. And beside the tank, the same woman from the jetty. She smiled. "You heard the call," she said softly. Her voice was the same one from the radio. "What is this?" I asked. She placed a hand on the glass. The thing inside mirrored her movement. "This is what waits," she whispered. "And now it knows you." The pounding started again. 5 beats. Pause. 5 beats. Only this time it was inside the tank. The red light flared, flooding the room, and when it dimmed, she was standing right in front of me. Her hand touched my cheek. Her skin was warm now. The tank was empty. I ran. Through the tunnel, up the path, not looking back until I reached the headland. Far below, the red light blinked once, twice, then went dark. The pounding hasn't stopped since.